Hey, thanks for joining me to color. Today we are going to be working on this adorable Whimsy Stamps image called Love Trip. Aren't those little ladybugs so cute? I love those. I will put a link down in the description box to the card kit and all the supplies I use. I would love for you to come shopping with me. Also, if you could hit the like button, that would be fabulous. And if you aren't a subscriber, do that so you'll know when I upload a new video. Also, if you have a question at the end of the video, go ahead and leave me a comment and I will get back to you on that. So I have already stamped my image on Neenah 80-pound Solo Bright cardstock with Memento Tuxedo black ink. Let's color. So let's start out by coloring our balloon, and for that we're going to use YR18, YR15, and Y23. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my YR18, and I'm going to go down here at the bottom and color in the underneath of the balloon, the inside. Just going to color that all the way in. I'll go over it a couple of times so it'll be pretty dark on there. Okay, and then let's go up here and we'll start on our balloon. So I'm going to add a little bit of my shadow on each of these little balloon puffs. Let's go right down the middle here. And down this way. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing for this side. And I'm not worrying if I go over the line because I'm going to color that side in a little bit anyway. We'll just try not to get it onto the stripes that are going across the middle like this one right here. And then when I get up here to the top, I'm only going to bring my dark color to the top of this last balloon right here. Then I'm going to go with YR15. We'll just work our way down our balloon. And then I'm going to go with Y23. Work our way back up. Okay, now I'm not liking how there's so much contrast there, so I'm going to go with my YR18 and my YR15, and I'm going to tip it. So I'm going to pick a bit of my YR18 up onto my 15 marker, and then I'm going to add this color right in here to kind of go to add at this in-between shade, because I think it's a little too dark. And pick up a little bit more. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Like that. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take my Y23 and I'm going to tip it onto my YR15. So I'm going to pick a little bit of that up down here. And if you're worried about your markers, I don't worry, I just rub one marker onto the other one, but if you're worried about that, you could also take and do your darkest color onto an acrylic block or onto a piece of acetate or something, and then pick the color up from there. But I never worry, I just grab it right off the marker. And we'll work our way up here to the top. And then I want to fill this in. So I'm going to go right across the center here and fill in this middle section. Okay, then I'm going to go to the next section. So again, I'm going to grab my YR18. I'm going to let that last section dry a little bit and see how I like it after that. I may have to fiddle with it some more. And then same for this side. I only want to go up. I'm using, I only want to go to the end of this last section here. So I'm making my darkest color a little bit smaller because this section of the balloon is a lot smaller than the other section. I'll dab it on the edge here. And as long as I'm over here, I think I will do this little tiny bit over here. Okay, then I'm going to grab my YR15 and I'm going to again tip to tip it. I'm going to pick a little bit of my YR18 up. And I ran out, so I'm going to pick up a little bit more. And we're just going to work our way and do this on every single section of our balloon. I better get this little sections over here. And this is such a small section down here, I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my Y23, and again I want to pick up some of my YR15. I just want to soften that edge just a little bit. It's not quite so contrasty. I don't want to have such a huge line there. And come back and rub over that and add a little bit of my yellow. Okay, and let's go do this other side. So I'm going to let this side dry some more and then I'll come back and check it again. But again, we're going to start with our YR18 over here. So let's add a little bit of that on this side. And I'm being careful of that little teardrop there. And then we'll go ahead and go over here. And just work my way on this side, and then I'll flip it over. Be careful of that little bubble. Flip it over and we'll do the other. I'll flick from the other direction. Okay, now I'm going to turn it this way. I do better with my flicking if I'm flicking away from me. And we'll flick away from that line again. Be careful of your flower. And then let's do this one. I only want to go up to where this last balloon goes. And then just little dabs here on the edge. Then let's grab YR15 and tip to tip it. So I'm going to pick up some of my YR18 onto my tip of my brush. And then we're going to add that. We're going to pick up a little bit more. I got a little bit on my stripe there. I'll have to erase that. We're just going to work our way down to the side here, and then I'll flip it over. And I'm going to turn it this way so I can flick from this side. Pick up some more of my color. And let's work our way over to this other side. And I'm going to do a little bit on these little sections here. And I think I'm just going to fill in over here. I'm getting kind of messy there and getting it all over the place. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my Y23 and we're going to add some of that. Well, let's add a little bit more on this big one. I'm going to take just the YR15 and bring it out a little bit. Okay, then we'll take our Y23 and pick up some of our YR15. And let's pick up a little bit for this section. Continue to work our way all the way on our balloon here. I'm going to fill in this top section. And then fill it in with just the Y23. All right. Okay, now this section over here has dried a little bit. So I'm going to take my YR15 and just flick a little bit on the sides of this. I need to soften it just a little bit more. And let's do a little bit on this one. And then I'm going to go back with my Y23 and just go over the entire area. Blend those colors together a little bit more. I got a bunch on my flowers there. I'm going to go in and fix that. Okay, I'm kind of liking the color on that. So let's grab our colorless blender and see what we can do with some of this mess I made. So I'm going to take my colorless blender, and I got a little bit here on my little ribbon, so I'm going to kind of push that back onto the orange. Since it's going to be a light blue color, we'll see if we can get rid of some of that. If not, well, we're just going to go with it. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'm not going to worry about the flowers. I might give a little bit on this little leaf right here because it's going to be green. And let's do these bubbles. See if we can get some of that orange off there. It was a little messy. And I got a little bit out of the lines too. I'm thinking that looks pretty good. So now let's do the stripes. Now for the stripes, we're going to use BG05, BG01, and BG000. And we're going to start with BG05, and let's just do each side of our stripe. So I'm going to give this one a little dab here on the edge. Try to be a little bit more careful here. I won't try not to go out of the lines. And then we'll flick over here to each side. I want to cause a little bit of shadow over here. And we're just going to go clear across the balloon. Same for over here. And then just a little dab here on that outside one. Okay, now because BG05 and BG01 is such a huge jump, I'm going to go ahead and rub my BG01 on top of my BG05. And we're going to add a little bit of that to the edge of each of these stripes, just to soften it. And you pick up some more as you go along. Go around this little leaf there a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take just my BG01. I'm going to fill in this little section over here. And I want to soften this edge and bring it out a little bit more. And then I'm going to finish it off with my BG000. Go all the way across. And fill the rest of that balloon in. Now let's hop down here and do the basket. For that we're going to use E37, E33, and E31. I'm going to start with my E37 and I'm going to give the sides a little bit of color. Go around my little flower. And for the bottom of the basket, I'm just going to color it in. And then I want to go a little bit underneath of this little ruffle or skirt that they've got here, a little scalloped edge. And then I also want to do that underneath the lip of the basket. There's a little bit over here where it's showing between her flowers. And then here's the edge of that lip, so let's do this side. And then this side of the basket. Then I'm going to grab E33, and again, it's such a jump to 37 that I'm going to take some 33. I'm going to take my 33 and rub it on my 37 and pick a little bit of that up. And you pick up more off of your pen as you need it. And I better add a little bit of this up here on top of this flower. I also want to do a little bit, soften this edge of this line here. So I'm going to go right over the top of these lines. Same for this one. And then I'm going to take just my 33 and pull some of that color out. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up my 31, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my 33 off onto my 31. Grab a little bit more. And I'm going to do a little dab up here. Now I'm going to take my 33 and I'm just going to go right next to the little ladybugs' hands, because it's going to be dark right in here where they're both touching the basket. Now let's do the red flowers and the ladybug's wings. For that we're going to use R39, R29, and R24. Let's go ahead and start up here at the top. And I'm going to do these flowers up here red. So I'm just going to give a little bit of red down here on each one of these little petals. And since I colored that one orange, I'm going to grab a little bit of that orange off there. Just covered it up nicely. And we'll go up here, same thing, we'll add a little bit of our red. And let's make this one over here red. You can choose whatever ones you want. Yeah, let's go pop down here and we'll make this one over here red. And this one right here I'm going to make red. And then for the ladybug's wings, I'm going to be really careful and just add a little dab of this right on the edge. Same for this side. And then for this one, we'll do a little dab, and we'll go down the inside. And she's got a little bit of her wing showing over here. I'm going to color that in because that's all the space there is. Then I'm going to grab R29 and I'm going to go back up here to the top. We're going to add a little bit more red to our flowers up here. So I'm touching down on top of my 39 and then filling in some of my white. And red for me is not very forgiving, so I'm going to try to be careful and not get it on anything else. Never fails, I tend to get red everywhere. It's not my friend. Alright, we'll go down here, get a little bit on these flowers. And then we'll add a little bit to our little ladybug. And this side, there's not much left, so I'm going to fill that in. And then I'm going to go with R24 to fill in the rest. So I'm going to go back up here to the top and fill in the rest of my flowers. And I tend to go over the entire red area just so that it will kind of squish it all together. And my R29, I don't know why, but it's kind of shiny. It's always been that way. And we'll hop down here to our flowers down here. And then we're going to fill in the ladybugs here. And I'm not worried about, I'm trying not to get it on the dots, but if you get it on the dots, we're going to color those black. So it's not any big deal if you accidentally get some on there. Next, let's do the yellow flowers. For that, I used YR15, Y17, Y15, and Y13. Let's hop up here to the top and get this one right here. So I'm going to start with my YR15. And we're going to add a little bit of shadows in. And then we'll go down here. She's got a little flower here in her hair. I'm going to do a little dab of my color here next to the center. And then these cute little flowers down here. And let's do a little dab on the center of these little red flowers. And next I'm going to go with Y17. And again, you want to touch down on top of your last color. I'm just going to touch down on top of it and add a little bit more, softening that orange a little bit. I'm going to fill in the center of these little flowers. I'll go down here. Same thing down here. You want to touch down on top of your YR15. Next I'm going to grab Y15. Fill in these flowers down here. And the little ladybugs flower. And then I'm going to take the Y13 and just go over the entire flower. So lighten it up just a little bit. Next, let's do the leaves, and for that we're going to use YG17, YG03, and YG01, and it looks like I forgot to put it on the directions, so I will go fix that. So if you already bought a kit, sorry about that, but I will go add it into the ones that are still left. So I'm going to start with my YG17, and I'm going to give each of these little leaves a little dab of my color. And I'm just using the tip of my pen. And I just got a couple of leaves down here. Next we're going to go with YG03. Add a little bit more. If you fill in your leaves, that's cool. I'm just going to add a little bit more color here. Some of the leaves are pretty dinky. And then we're going to fill them in with YG01. So even if you already filled all the leaf in, I go back over them and add this because it's got some yellow in there and brighten it up. For these little bubbles that are up here, I'm going to use BG000 just to give those a little dab of color. Some of them I got orange, but we're going to put this on here. You could also do some white in there and whiten them up. That looks pretty good. Then for our little ladybugs, we're going to use N5, N3, and N1. And then for the dots, I'm going to use N10. I'm going to start with my N5. And let's start up here on the little girl bug. I'm going to give her a little flick of color on the back of her head. And let's go down the inside of her, kind of her chest area there. And her hand. And a little bit here next to the basket. And we're going to go up here and add some to her hair. And I'm going to bring this color down along her cheek. And then I'm going to grab in 3. I want to soften that edge. I don't want her to be too dark. I want to be able to see her. Her little cute face. And then I'm going to fill her in with N1. Okay, I'm liking that. So I'm going to go over here and grab the little boy bug. So again, I'm going to grab N5. Let's do a little bit on his hands. And then under his chin, along his fur here. And right here, his hair's kind of poking down, so I'm going to give that a little bit of shadow. And let's do along the back of his head. I'm going to go with N3. Again, I don't want it to be too dark on his face, so I'm using it sparingly. And then N1 to, again, fill it all the way in. Then we'll take our N10 and fill in these little dots they've got on their wings. And if you haven't used your N10 before, you might want to pop the other end off so that it doesn't like spill everywhere. Mine's pretty wet, so I'm hoping it doesn't blob on my paper. That. And then for their nose, I'm going to use R20. And E93. And you could do some, lost my train of thought there. Never mind. So I've also forgot to do my flowers, so I'm going to do E33 to fill in these little yellow flowers, the centers. Completely forgot what I was going to say. Okay, like that. So here is our beautiful love trip all colored up. Isn't it adorable? And again, here is the finished card. So I added some Stickle Stardust to all the flowers, and then I did some Wink of Stella clear glitter pen on the blue stripes on the balloon. And then down here for the words on my sentiment, I used my Copic marker B quadruple 0 just to scribble over the top of the words so it'd have a little bit of color on there. So I hope you had fun coloring with me today. If you have a question, leave me a comment. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.